Okay, I think we'll get started. Um, uh, Good afternoon, and thanks to those who have joined us. My name is Bob Cameron, Robert Cameron in my official title. Bob Cameron's what I get. I'm the course director for this new program on MSc Global Strategy and Environmental Health and Sustainability. So I'll talk to you about that today. I see Sinead's hopefully joining us again there. So I'll hope to talk you through the program. In the first instance, what I'm going to do is talk a wee bit about just the benefits of doing an MSc study, and then we'll get into the detail of the course and some why we think it is really, really current and really, really important course. So in terms of the benefits of studying in Ulster University, to start with, we have excellent conversion courses if you want to change career, and that's what we would deem this course to be, an MSc and a conversion course to take in a new direction in your career. Gives you a very competitive edge in employment to have a master's program particularly. You get that personal fulfillment out of it, which is great. I know whenever I did my master's way back many moons ago, as you'll I'm sure have guessed, I got great personal achievement out of it. So it's very, very worthwhile. You'll be taught by experts. We have a lot of people on the course and across the school generally, across the university, who are experts in their field. They're doing world-renowned research. They're doing research into all sorts of things, and they're also highly qualified teachers. We've got a very strong, hi Sinead, hopefully your connection's working now. We just started here. We have a very good supportive environment. We get a very, very good reputation for that, both in the National Student Survey and even for PhD students. This year we're rated very, very highly across the whole UK, one of the top universities in the UK for support for our students. You get very good academic and professional qualifications, and we have very, very strong links with industry bodies and employers. It's one of the foundations of what we do at Ulster, in terms that we like to have really, really strong links with industry and bring people onto the courses. So there's lots of good reasons. Some very personal quantifiable benefits. 7,000 is the extra average amount a postgrad earns compared to graduates. So that's again the major benefit there. 20% more likely to be in high skilled employment with an MSc, and data from the Department of Education has shown that earnings and employment rate in Northern Ireland increase in line with education. So if you take on a master's course, then your employment rate, your ability to get higher paid jobs, etc., improves. And there's further stats just to show that as well. Oh, sorry, I've gone back one too far there. Applications. You can apply online at ulster.ic.uk, and there's no official closing date. So for instance, for this course, we'll accept applications right up to the start date in September. Indeed, if you're joining within a week of the course or so of the course starting, we will accept application. Sometimes course places are limited. In our case, that's not the case. So you're okay, you can apply right up to the starting point, and you can apply for multiple courses and then take the one you want. But do try and put all the detail onto your application up front, because if there's any doubt, then that can delay the process. But it's a fairly straightforward process, so it's very, very helpful. Fees and finances. The cost for our course is 6,270. That's the starting point for it if you're a UK resident. There are flexible payment options. If you're already an alumni of Ulster, you get a 10% discount. There's a 5% discount built in for upfront payments, and there are loans also available, 5,500 available to pay for postgrad study. So there's lots of options there, and our finance guys and registry will give you a lot of advice on that. And again, there's the info there, the link there for people. So it's very, 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 very useful information, and certainly there's a lot of people who give you guidance through that. So it's very, very flexible. Righty-ho, now the stuff you probably joined us to talk about MSc Global Strategy and Environmental Health and Sustainability. It's an entirely by distance learning course. We designed this course so as people can take it at a time that suits them. There are sessions scheduled, as you would expect. There'll be a timetable, and we'll do live sessions, but all those sessions are recorded, so that you can actually tune in and catch up with the recordings, catch up with the lectures and the tutorials at a time that suits you. The idea of that is it's designed to be a global master, so therefore it's available to people at time zones throughout the world. And this year we've had a few applicants from around the world joining it as well, applying to join it. So that's the whole idea of it. If you do it full time, you'll complete it in the calendar year. You'll start in September and you'll hand in your research project in the following September, and then you will go for the Christmas graduation. But you'll have completed the course within a year. Typically, if you do it part time, you can complete it within effectively 2 academic years. It may stretch out to 3. You can extend it longer than that, but there's a flexible mode there for people who want to do it part time as well. For people who are holding down jobs and are trying to do a master's as well, and there's a lot of support all the way along from that. So it's a very flexible course and very easy to join. There would be a couple of sessions where we would ask you to be there for maybe presentations and a simulation, but in the main you can take it at the time that suits you, and there's lots of support, say, with the mentors and things. We'll keep in contact with them, make sure things are going well. Environmental health, we've got it written down. Environmental health addresses all the physical, chemical and biological factors externally to the person and all related factors impacting behaviours, and comes to the assessment and control of those environmentally that can potentially affect health. It's targeted towards preventing disease and creating healthy, supportive environments. And that's a very, very important aspect of environmental health. It's not just about physical health, freedom from disease typically, but it's also about that well-being and contentment. So it goes beyond just the whole concept of physical health. And when you look at the Sustainable Development Goals there, they're all laid out, all 17 of them in that wheel. See the linkages through there. For instance, SDG 11 talks about sustainable cities and communities. And if you think about it, environmental health will impact on the housing, the facilities that are supplied, the environment within the cities that we live in, the pollution that might be there. And resilience in cities is really, really important. We see all the climate change issues which are already impacting, flooding issues. Environmental health are involved in those sort of things. Peace and justice, Sustainable Development 16, fair and equitable application of the law, be that human rights law, health and safety law, food safety law. So we study that and we look at it from a very global perspective and from a sustainable development perspective. Clean water, SDG 6, obviously that's critical to health, so we would have been involved in that. Affordable clean energy, SDG 7. That's again very, very important, particularly important now. We'll talk about climate change as we go through, and it's so important. And then SDG 12 and SDG 13 about responsible consumption and climate action. That has become so critical, and all the other SDGs really impact on that. But again, we'll talk about that in the future. But that's that broad concept of environmental health, and the degree very much focuses on that, as you'll see as we go down through this. And the course philosophy, when we started to design the course, we come up with a very simple philosophy, and it fits in very well with the principles of environmental health and the principles of dealing with sustainable development. And it's sustainability is not the domain of one discipline or profession, it's the responsibility of all disciplines, professions, organizations and individuals. Each has their own role to play in a global partnership. So that's at the very core of our course. That's how we see delivering sustainability. It's not just about one group taking responsibility for it. Everybody has to take responsibility, and that's reflected throughout the course as we teach it in each of the modules, regardless of the topic we're working on. We will look at it from that sustainable development perspective, and we will look at it from the whole aspect of the partnership that's needed to deliver it. So I think that's a very, very important aspect of it. In terms of the course itself, primarily focused on the global dimension of environmental health, and that's why it is designed that way. We traditionally in environmental health, we were looking very much at environmental health within the context of maybe the UK or a public environment or whatever it might be. This looks very much at the context of environmental health through that global aspect. So when we look at food safety and integrity, we'll look at that from a global perspective. We'll look at the principles of food safety. We'll look at the concept of food security and food integrity and how we deal in a global context. We look at public protection and well-being. We'll look at it from that global aspect. We'll look at wider world context rather than just within the UK. So we're always focused on that global context and that link with sustainability. It is built around the 5 core disciplines of environmental health, as you'll see in there, and that whole principle of analysing, planning, assessing, analysing, planning, and the one you can't see is acting, so that it works from that whole principle of we look at how we assess things, how we analyse things, how we identify a plan to resolve things, and then how we take appropriate action to do that, be it in a global context, local context, whatever that might be. So that's very, very important there. You see those 5 aspects in environmental health, and they're built into the core of the course, as you'll see. In the 6 principles of environmental health, you'll see how current these are actually. Maintenance and protection of human health is at the centre of environmental health action. Well, that's core to what we always do. Protection of the most disadvantaged who suffer disproportionately. We always find that those least well off in society suffer the most ill health, they suffer the most impact. Even when it comes to climate change, they're the ones who tend to suffer the most. So that's, again, very core to what we do. The need for democratic government and governance, that's core again to what we do in terms of enforcing the law and implementing the law, but ensuring that the law is fair and deals with all people equally. Partnership is so important, and sustainability, very, very much at the core of what we do in this course in particular. The idea that, again, you see it within our course philosophy and the whole concept of delivering sustainability, which has become so critical. And of course, environmental health issues are truly international in their character. I mean, that is an important aspect that the COVID pandemic we've just been dealing with and are still dealing with. That had no boundaries. Many of the pollution aspects we deal with have no boundaries. Climate change has no boundaries. When we get a major disaster, such as something like Chernobyl many years ago, thankfully now, that spread out throughout Europe and impacted across. So environmental health issues don't have national boundaries in many instances. So that is the context within which we teach that course, takes it on that higher global aspect, if you like. The course structure, you'll be interested in this. We mentioned the core disciplines of food safety. We've got 8 modules on the course. A couple of compulsory ones. The Sustainable Development Strategy for a Secure Future. That is a compulsory one. That is the foundation of the course. We believe that everybody taking this course needs to have a full understanding about the whole aspect of sustainable development. So that's steeped in it. We also then, another compulsory was law and sustainability in a global context. That's where we look at that aspect of law and governance, the purpose of law, the fairness of law, human rights, humanitarian and human rights law is right at the core of that, and then how that applies to legislation, interpretation of legislation, and human rights on the ground. So those are very, very interesting modules. Again, looking at that global aspect. And then we have the other aspects: food safety, occupational safety, environmental protection, sustainable technologies, housing, sustainable housing communities, effective communication for sustainability. That's all about health communication, how we promote health, maintain health, encourage healthy practices on a global basis as well as a local basis. Emergency planning becoming a big, big issue for us. There are more and more disasters of varying natures, including terrorist disasters, but particularly from our perspective, natural disasters, be it flooding, be it earthquakes, and the impacts they have on people's health. So that's the structure of the course, and then finishing off with your research. So research method for the masters again is compulsory, and what we will do is we ask you to do a research paper rather than a classic dissertation. We do a research paper. The idea being that hopefully a lot of the work we do, the research we do on the course, that you do on the course, will actually be publishable. So that starts you going down that route of trying to create a body of research evidence for our discipline, and to maybe go on to further research, perhaps at PhD level. But we also have those cross-cutting themes across the course. Sustainable development, in every module, that's right at the core, regardless of what the topic is. We look at it from a sustainable development perspective. We also look at the whole concept of policy, strategy, and interventions. Not just about what we do on the ground, but how we create policy, how we then define how we're going to deliver that policy, and what we actually do on the ground to make sure it happens. And that's really important, because so many things fail at one or other of those levels. Humanitarian and human rights law are built into it, principles of environmental health, and we always look at that global context. The health and safety, for instance, will be taught within the global context of health and safety. Food safety will be taught within the global context. Principles of good, safe food hygiene taught within standards that are created, which are applicable worldwide. So we look at it in that context, as well as looking at local legislation to build that foundation. We look at the global context. So that's how the course works, and hopefully that people thus far have found it very interesting. And that's just a wee quick slide to show you how it runs there. For a full-time mode, that will be four modules in the first semester, which you do 2 compulsory and 1 optional, and then you pick 3 modules from second semester, and then finally in the third semester you do your dissertation. So that gives you a rough idea as to how the course will run. And they're all 20 credit point modules, etc., apart from the final dissertation one, the research one, which would be 60 credit points. Not to dwell too much, but you can ask me some questions about that at the end if you're interested. The people who teach, we really continue a tradition of innovation in Ulster. We've always had an innovative approach to teaching, but also research and how we deliver courses. And this course we think mixes that, and the old saying about a good mix of town and gown. We have a lot of people who are professionals in their own right. They have worked in profession, like myself. I worked for 23 years in environmental health before I came into university to then teach it and ultimately develop this master's course. And many of the people who teach on the courses are like that. They also do a lot of really good research with very good industry links, professional body links, and all the people who teach on it are either fellows or senior fellows of the Higher Education Academy. So it's a high quality teaching team, and it's a high quality teaching school, and there's world-class research going on within the university. You'll see various slides there, the 9/11 disaster, some of the people in the school and who are involved in the research in the school were involved in the aftermath of that, looking at research and into fire safety and evacuation of buildings, etc. You see flooding there. There's people doing lots of research in flooding and protection of infrastructure and flooding events to try and maintain infrastructure. You'll see roads and actually a racing stadium. There's guys who do a lot of work on infrastructure of roads and designing safe roads, and loads of people doing. Ourselves and our team, we've done research recently, had published in terms of hand hygiene, safe hand hygiene, which was really current in terms of COVID. So that's really important as well. So lots of good research supporting the course. But also within the course, it's not just always about knowledge. Knowledge is finite. Knowledge changes every few years, and it's changing quicker now than ever. So you have to keep abreast of that. But it's really important that we produce people with the graduate qualities and future skills we like to see. So we're very much focused on the idea of being a critical thinker, problem solver. That's core to the course. So lots of the assessments you will do, you'll be required always to critical think, to come up with solutions. We try to design authentic assessments so that you're doing in your assessment something which you will do whenever you go out to work, whenever you work in this field, hopefully. So we want to produce that. We want people to be good communicators and team workers, because that's so core to your work generally and day to day with your teams, but also to working with different disciplines and different organizations, as would be so core to what you're doing, particularly in the context of what we're talking about. Flexible, reflective, adaptable to change. Nowadays, we all have to be flexible and adaptable. Things change so quickly. So we want to build those skills in. Professional, lifelong learner with an ethical sense of personal sense. So those sort of things we try to build in. And creative and innovative and entrepreneurial, that whole idea that, we don't just deliver things by rote, by things we've learned. We actually come up with new ideas, new ways of delivering things. So again, the course very much focuses on trying to deal with that, and that emotional intelligence, again, understanding other people's needs, so that we don't just sort of impose our own thoughts and ideas. We understand the needs, and that way we can build solutions to many problems by understanding what people expect, what they need. So that all fits with the whole concept of environmental health and is in part of that philosophy of the course. And of course, the whole idea of being a global citizen, that we think about the global context and think about sustainable development, and particularly climate change, and that UU ambassadors, well, that you'll be a representative of the university when you graduate, all underpinned with the professional standards framework and the core disciplines that we talked about. And basically finishing up, this is there's a quote there by Irina Bokova, Director General of UNESCO, and she talks about how we needed a fundamental change in how we deliver courses, and that's how this course came about. We read that it came out of what UN were saying in relation to delivering courses for the future, to try and deliver sustainable development and that sustainable goals we're looking at. So that was where this course came from, and we very much see this course as really of its time. We're preparing tomorrow's graduates to go out and do what we need to do to deliver sustainable development. We've just seen the latest report from the UN, from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. They're highlighting a very serious issue. Climate change is widespread and intensifying. It is an important issue. We're now seeing that climate change has become a massive issue for us. We need to address it now, and the people who are going to deliver that are going to need the skills that we're delivering in this course. We're seeing more and more organizations now offering jobs for sustainability managers, sustainability officers, because all large corporations and medium companies are now going to have to start seriously thinking about how they make their own organizations sustainable. And we feel there's a real niche for people on a course like this to come out and fill that gap in the market. We've got a lot of applicants this year. We're really pleased about that. And as I say, we're seeing more and more applications for people in that field of sustainability. Having those skills that we have in environment, those core disciplines and skills we have in environmental health, but having that overall context of how we organizations might deliver sustainability on the ground in that wider context of sustainability, but with a particular emphasis on how we arrest the climate change issues we're now facing. That's basically, I'm finished up now. If you have any questions you want to ask me, feel free to do so. I'm happy to answer your queries and questions. And my email address is there. If you want to have a private chat later, send me an email, please do. Feel free to do so. I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And we would love to have you on the course. Has anybody any questions? Okay, well, if no questions now, I say you've got the link there. My email address, feel free to email me at any time, and I'll answer any questions you have about the course. And hopefully you'll be joining us in September. It'll be fantastic.